Hello, dear friends. Today's subject is that there is no issue except for a strange silence. Opinions of peace. A strange stillness, the cloud of unknowing, before the storm. Changes in the air. Knowledge is the solution. Anxiety precedes change. People are tired and dull. Nature teaches you stillness. Let's start. If there is one thing I can describe this Sunday, it was the strange silence in the air to the extent that not a fly could be heard. Silence is the lack of noise, as if everything was in order. It is like the calm before the storm, or the silence before the battle. Change is in the air. You can feel it. Anxiety and fear permeate internet discussions and always precede change, the outcome of which is unknown to the unprepared. The only successful long-term strategy to combat fear and anxiety is awareness, knowledge and capacity. The path to all great things is through silence. When you lose touch with the stillness within, you lose touch with yourself. And when you lose touch with yourself, you lose yourself in the world. Let nature teach you stillness. When you perceive nature and join it in the field of stillness, it is filled with awareness. And this is your gift to nature. Silence is the only friend that never betrays you. I have the impression that some people are allergic to a balanced standard of living and a stress-free lifestyle. If they were not, why do they live as they do? No critical thinking skills, no anticipation of consequences. And that is not a recent problem. It seems to go back to the beginning of time. Why is the world falling apart? The whole system has been designed by people with above average intelligence. The problem here is that these people are the only ones who understand why the rules are the way they are. The normal people, over 90%, don't understand it. They think the rules are stupid, so they break them, and little by little everything falls apart. Negative theology. Silence is a philosophical category of negative or apophatic theology, as a way of expressing the ineffable. According to the negative theology, it is only possible for the human intellect to apprehend what God wouldn't be, while real understanding of divinity would be impossible, even in a fragmentary way, because it transcends physical reality and human cognitive abilities. In this perspective, the most appropriate approach to knowing the Creator is what is expected from silence: contemplation and adoration of the mystery. In the words of Pseudo Dionysius, when the mind has stripped its divine idea of human modes of thought, it penetrates into the darkness of non-knowing, in which it renounces all apprehension of the understanding and surrenders itself to that which is wholly intangible and invisible, united to the one who is wholly unknowable. The Cloud of Unknowing is a spiritual guide written in the second half of the 14th century, shortly after 1390, by an unknown monk, probably Carthusian, who would have lived in England. Although the divine essence cannot be adequately apprehended, nor clearly understood by the humankind's intelligence, we can reach it directly through love. The Carthusian wants to teach what is the mystical way of contemplation and divine love, which is attained through passivity, silence, and solitude. The event. It seems reasonable that the changeover will come after a major event in which the main media satellites are switched off and the emergency transmission system via the new Starlink satellite system comes into operation. The date would be decided by the quantum computer and would be based on security concerns. Any other date would be pure speculation. The next few months are promised to be full of confusion. Many things are coming to a head in extreme way. Having things which were hidden and out of sight are suddenly bursting into the open for all to see. It's taking to cover off a lot of what has been going on in plain sight all along. As rumors circulate, Nancy will be forced to resign after the removal of the midterms. Her activist daughter, Christine, is the favorite to take over with a little help from her mother's fundraising machine and contacts. David Icke, banned in 26 countries simultaneously, says Charlie Ward. Who made that decision? Who decided that the millions of people in those countries can't hear him speak? I know one thing. This will backfire spectacularly. Those people and more will seek the truth now, and with more suspicion. End of a cycle. A 13,000-year war of fear within ourselves during this particular cycle is expected to conclude rapidly this autumn of 2022. We are actually in it right now. How does one know this? The once important duel on television and on the internet has lost or is losing great importance for the average viewer. Both sides have overreached themselves and are on the verge of losing the support of the people. People are tired and turned off. The fear of others is moving into the rear view mirror as we pass spiritual adolescence and move into post-adolescence marked by overcoming the physical results of this great coming event. We, humankind as a species, are poised for this pending opportunity to cross the finish line. We will have the opportunity to go far beyond our mortal selves and approach the pure power of our eternal essence. One's head, heart, and hands are simply instruments for maturing the eternal spirit that resides within all human beings, and they are the pathways through which one's spirit can present maturity of character, competence, and capacity, as well as judgment. In the past, when the 13,000-year cycles aligned and this type of triggering event occurred, a great cataclysm happened over the entirety of the earth, restarting the great experiment that is humankind. Stress and fear. Most people have no idea what the underlying events are that cause them stress and fear, and do not know that they have the ability to change anything. People believe they are powerless to change situations they see as serious, because they do not know that the power of the mind is unlimited. Thus, that knowledge has been hidden from them by darkness, which has also kept them trapped for millennia in deception, illusion, fear, and battles. You volunteered to help them escape that trap, and are eager for evidence that your mission is bearing fruit. Dear souls, you will soon have it. The puppets of darkness will wreak havoc for a brief period, before accepting that the forces of light have defeated them. During this period, anxiety and confusion will be widespread, but as the brilliance of light shines through the settling dust and revelations emerge, the people of Earth will embrace the abundance of the energy of love and set about transforming their world. Geopolitics. The West shudders as the German-China-Russia axis begins to form, says Sorjafal. German industry has no intention of disrupting its largest market, let alone cutting ties. One of the business leaders who accompanied Scholz to Beijing is chemical giant BASF, which is shifting production from Germany to China because of rising energy costs in Europe. Another executive is from Volkswagen, which sells almost 40% of its cars to China. Hildegard Müller, chairwoman of Germany's auto industry lobby, warns that disengaging from China would be a serious economic and geostrategic mistake. China and Germany are influential forces in Asia and Europe respectively. Their consensus not only serves the fundamental interest of both sides, but it is also essential for the stability of the global economy and security. Xi and Scholz also exchanged views on the Ukraine crisis and issued an initiative stating that the international community should support all efforts leading to a peaceful resolution of the crisis. Well-renowned professor of ethical philosophy Andrea Zoc at the University of Milan explains that modern states are de facto ruled by financial oligarchies, and after the brief democratic period of the second post-war period, are now applying forms of extreme control that were once unthinkable. Breaking news. Financial author Bob Moriarty warns that the first global revolution is already underway. Economic frauds will end quickly, according to Greg Hunter. Trump will announce his candidacy for the 2024 presidential campaign on Saturday, November 12th. Twitter starts charging $8 for verification. The US sent planes into Iran after reports of an imminent attack by Tehran on Saudi Arabia, according to the Washington Post. Happy and successful people don't need to find someone to blame. Americas. Peruvians take to the streets against Pedro Castillo's government. Bukele assures that the BRICS can create a new world economic system. Plurinational or multicultural state, the discussion that divides Chile. Ukraine. Ukraine starts fundraising to create a fleet of marine drones. The US privately asks Ukraine to be open to negotiate with Russia, according to the Washington Post. Sanctions against Russia did not have an effect. The sanctions imposed against Russia have not caused the expected damage to the Russian economy in the short term, according to experts from the Brussels think tank Bruegel and the American International Institute of Finance. Asia. China will invest $2.2 billion in lithium projects in Argentina. China protests to Canada for placing restrictions on its investors. India, the world's largest sugar producer, slashes its exports. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.